Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the 19 podcast. I'm here with Mutando today. Mutando!
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, it's good to have you, man. It's been a minute since we talked. We've been doing a little bit of preview, getting set up for the cast today. But it's good to see you around, man. I mean, you really just fucking sparked the flame on XPOFF, and that's why we're here today, my friend. you're the man of the hour. It's been a while. I mean, this is the truth, and everyone's gonna agree on this. It's been a while since you know something's up on XPOFF when you go onto the website. You know, I'm normally going onto the website and I see like 3 or 4 posts a day and like random sections, but today I log on. You know, the pot's been stirred up a little bit recently. You know, I've seen some MVP posts off his ban, which is just like kind of troll capping, but it's something like it's something on the table, something to like feed my like I just need that little fucking excitement, the drama, the random bullshit going on the website. I log on to XPOFF. I got 110 thread replies on a thread that was made yesterday. I'm like, whew, let me just go get my Orville Redenbacher real quick, sit down, butter that shit up before I read this thread. And it did not disappoint. If you guys haven't checked already, there's a big thread on XPOFF right now that Mutando made. Is XPOFF being deliberately killed? And this is something that we're going to talk about today. The direction of our podcast is going to be talking about the direction of XPOFF, where we are now, where we can go into the future, and the state of 19s. Because I love 19s. I don't give a shit about any other bracket. Fuck you guys.
Same with me, man.
Okay.
19s for life.
God bless. Okay. With that being said, I want to just start off. I know I kind of highlighted a little bit with you when we were kind of going into the gist of this. I think everyone and their mother, this is something behind the scenes where it's like, man, like XPOF's kind of stale. What are we getting from XPOFF right now? Why? Really, the whole point I'm going to get into a little bit later is like, why is there a reason for me as someone in the twinking community? Why do I want to log on to XPOFF before I get on to WoW? Why do I want to log on right now? I mean, what's the point? Like, why do I want to log on and see what's going on in XPOFF that's going to enhance my overall experience playing in the community right now? And I think I really want to get your perspective because I want to know, like, what brought you to the tipping point of making this thread? Because, you know, the last we had talked, you were kind of taking a little bit of a step back from 19. So I'm curious to where this all took place in your head for you wanting to come out and do this.
Yeah, so I didn't have like a very clear purpose when I was making the thread. I just it was like a culmination of things. 19's just kind of being in a weird spot right now. Not as many people playing. XPOF's like less active, but yet like I'm seeing these posts every once in a while on XPOFF. People I don't really know, not that matters, but and it's like 19s are experiencing growth unlike anything we've ever seen before in Legion. And I'm just like, it just kind of bothered me because I was like, being someone who's played 19 since like middle school, I'm like a grown ass man now. And it's just, I don't see 19s in a good spot at all right now. And just that coupled with some of the things I see on the website or complete lack thereof. There was like a week where I didn't even see anything new. And I just felt like, I got to throw up a post right now and let everyone know how I feel. So I didn't expect it to blow up like it did, but I'm happy people are talking about some of the things. So.
Oh, I'm on the opposite end of it, and I totally get. First, I want to address 2 things. So the first thing is that, I totally get where you're coming from. Where there's this I'm gonna talk. I wrote a whole paragraph on this. There's an over sense of false hype of what's going on at 19s. Okay, and it's directed by just a handful of people, and it's not a surprise to anyone who it is. With that being said, a great comparison would be, let's say you're having a sandwich, right? And this person's like, yeah, this sandwich has ham on it. You're like, no, it's not. This is spam. And they're like, no, this is actually ham. This is a ham sandwich. And you're like, no, it's not. This is spam. And it actually is spam. They're just telling you that it's something else. That's not actually what it is. It's not relevant to the situation. It's just borderline basic lying. Like it's night and day that people on XPOFF can be like, like there's this idea that from a couple individuals, most notoriety, Conk always tries to hype everything up. God bless Conk. He's a good man, and I don't to some
Conk's
degree
a good
like
dude,
to some degree I always think Conk we'll get into this later. But Conk has a lot of weight on his shoulders for 19s and what's been going on with him. God bless his soul. I had a conversation with him about this the other day, and we can get into it later. You know what? Fuck it. Let's just talk about it right now. We're already here.
Why not?
The thing that always... I had a conversation with him, coincidentally, probably 3 to 4 weeks ago, like the night before he kind of made his thread and took a step back. And he was talking to me about that, like how much views the website has been getting and all these things. I'm like, Conk, like, I mean, that's great and all for terms of like website traffic and whatnot, but like in terms of like the actual community, like I don't give a fuck, man. Like I want to, you gotta understand what kind of a website do you have? Like, what are we culminating here? Like, and this is why it's like you're feeding someone a spam sandwich, but you're telling them ham because everyone knows at heart it's wrong. Like, no one in their right mind, outside of people for the terms of numbers it brings in for the website, like, I'm not gonna sit here and say I hate it. I mean, what the fuck? Like, if they're getting numbers on the website, that's great. But the problem is here's the problem. The number that I would care about in a grassroots community that's based, you know, a small website that's based off community-based, family-based kind of a thing, is how many returning active members are logging on a daily basis. So what I mean by that is, my name's Honeybuns, okay? That's my fucking account on XPOFF, right? So I want to know how many people with an actual account log on to XPOFF on a daily basis and are active users. I want to know things that are relevant to, like, wow, are people that are actually playing in the community, are people that are part of the community, are people that are part of this family like inspired to log on and check out the website? And the truth of the matter is not. Like, and this has kind of been going on the decline pretty much since the beginning of Warlords of Draenor. In my opinion, I just think it's been going down less and less and less. And the few great things that has kept 19s afloat has been during Warlords of Draenor. There's been an awesome, there was an awesome pre-mating meta. There was an awesome guild meta. There was a lot of people getting involved in the second and third Twin Cups, and the community got way more tight-knit to the point where people were playing on different teams. You could do real IDs during the day. There were streamed war games every night between Conk, Blackout, and Linden, and everyone organizing the Twin Cup. They did a great job. Merm, obviously, I'll get on another paragraph for all this a little bit later, but talking about and getting the Twin Cup going, because that has been a major success. But like, now I think about it, I was thinking about it today, I'm like, wow, could you imagine if Merm 4 years ago had decided to not make a Twin Cup and not come out with this crazy revolutionary idea 4 years ago that we could have an annual tournament? Could you think about where 19s would be this expansion? Like, the only reason people are playing 19s in the competitive side of 19s is because of the Twin Cup. Like, it wouldn't exist
100%.
this year. This year, it would not exist. There's no guild competition. The pre-made competition is horrible. The pre-made meta is so stale because no one's taking incentive to actually get guild pre-mades going. It's disgusting. Yeah. It's gross. I can't stand the real
there's part of the
Right
culture. There is a culture, or I should say maybe was, to 19s that was so unique to anything else in World of Warcraft, which is why I loved it so much. Like, and it was really cool in those expansions that you were just talking about, where like people kind of got to know each other better. But I mean, I know, and this goes along with the game maybe getting a little older, but there's other factors too. But I mean, like back in the day, like the guild, like, you know, rivalries, just the new guilds on the come up, the old heads in the bracket, like, I mean, that's what made it so amazing. And then come Twin Cup time, you know, just so much hype, like just so unbelievably fun to watch, spectate, play in it, like. And that's just what's completely missing this year, just on every level. And it just sucks. It really sucks.
And I think that it really starts back. So let's take a step back now. We've kind of brought some ideas up. I have a direction for us where we can go with this podcast. So we brought some ideas up. Sure. Like, really, it's like there's a lack. There's just, it comes back to, let's start with the direction of XPOFF. Right now, if I'm playing in any part of the Twinking community, especially, I'm going to take it more from the standpoint of 19s, because like I said, I'm part of the 19 bracket. I played in 20s a little bit in MOP. That was a ton of fun. I had a great time. But outside of that, I've really been playing 19s. My home bracket. It's the bracket I give a shit about. Yep. With that being said, the question that we should ask ourselves is, why should I log onto this website? This is the questions that we should ask as you know, maybe people of XPOFF, people that are running the website, and like even as people that seriously are going to log on, as I'm going to ask myself, like, why do I want to log into XPOFF? What am I going to gain from going onto the forums at this point that I wouldn't have experience, that's going to enhance my experience, is a great word, to playing the game itself. And right now, there's pretty much jack shit. Now,
nothing.
With that being said, I'm not trying to sit here and just completely say, oh, fuck this, fuck that, fuck that. It's easy to point out what's wrong, all right? So let's take steps. I've talked to other people about this, something I feel very adamantly about. So let's take steps to talking about why. Why are we at this point? What has happened to get us here, and how can we rebound back? So what has gotten us here is there's a lack of content. And don't say a word. Do not say a word to me about how much content the website is going. Do not say one word, okay? Not one. The only real content that has come out of the 19 section in the past, like, fucking month is this podcast. Don't say a word. Not one word. Okay, getting that out. The lack of content on the website is disgusting. It's gross. It's gross, and at the same time, it's not any one person's fault.
No, it's not.
It's not anyone's person's fault. Another idea I'm going to highlight a little bit later is that, specifically in 19s, there has always been a select handful, 3 to 5 people during any expansion who have had an immense amount of weight and pressure in terms of organizing events, making the community something worth being in their own way, whether it's playing, whether it's streaming, whether it's organizing events, whether it's creating content. There's always been a heavy amount of weight on a select handful of people. And this is one of the reasons why we see ourselves where we are now, is because it is tiring. It's exhausting to have an inordinate amount of weight. So, for example, picture yourself in Conk, Blackout, Linden's position, right? Last year, I would say
not want to be any of those guys.
Yeah, everyone should get down on our knees, all right? If Conk wants an under the table, I mean, I'm giving it to him, okay? If Blackout is got a foot fetish going on, I'm gonna put some lube on the feet. We'll make it happen. Linden can get a nice Remy coupe on the side, because just things like that. So, you know, there's good and bads, right? Like, the fact that they go out of their way to organize the tournament this year, I believe they're actually getting paid for it, but at the same time too, no one in their right mind at 19s wants to organize and participate in this tournament. God bless their souls for doing that, because I know last year, I mean, they did a great job last year, but there was definitely some obstacles on both sides for trying to put it together. It's a lot of work. People expect it of you. This is something at 19s that's gotten gross over the Warlords of Draenor expansion and in carrying over into Legion, is that people got expectations that a select handful of people were going to continue carrying this amount of weight on their shoulders. And what you've seen with Legion is where we're at now, is most of those people have stopped because that weight is not worth it to them anymore. So great point made. I personally thank Conk, Blackout, and Linden for organizing last year's Twin Cup, this year's Twin Cup, and being a part of the community, because no one wants to do that shit that is playing and participating, and it's a godsend that they do it. Thank you for doing that. It's been a massive reason for why most people are still playing. So I know those guys don't get enough attention. They're not perfect. They're human, but they do something that God knows who else wants to do. So thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated. So where there are things that are going well, let's appreciate it. But where there are things that we can improve, let's talk about it. So content, right? That's basically it, right? That's basically what's kept, at least for 19s. Like, what else has kept 19s here? Because pretty much from, like, the end of Mista Pandaria, right? We went through this phase where, you know, the forums got really dull. They started doling down, more censoring, more lack of what you can say and get away with. I think at the same time, too, while that was happening, the culture of 19s was also changing at the same time too, and people became more friendly. People from guild to guild would talk more, between playing in the real IDs, being on Curse together, swapping teams and whatnot. Like, you just got to play around people more, so there wasn't this, like, super, like, yo, you're in my biker gang, or in your biker gang, and if we see each other at the gas mart, shit's going down, bro. Like, there's not, it's not like that to the degree.
You know, it did used to be like that, though. It did.
Yeah, it did, right? Like,
It was, yeah.
Absolutely, it absolutely was like that, and I think that really, this is super interesting. I don't think it's something that people have talked about. One of the reasons that let's define content right now, okay? Content is things that bring new ideas to the table, brings new, whether it's, content can come in a lot of forms. I think that's a great way to put it.
Brings excitement, man.
Yeah, content comes in a lot of forms. It comes in forms of videos. It comes in articles. It can be interviews. It can be tournaments. It could be events held in the community. It could also be threads. It could be activity on the forums, right? So let's get this idea of what content can be for 19s, right? The whole forum side has been completely chopped, the content side, in terms of...
Yeah, just brutal, man.
Brutal choppage. There's brutal choppage in terms of, man, this is the first exciting thread that's been on XPOFF for me to read in like 3 months plus. I can't even think of the last one. So let's just like put it like that. I can't think of the last one when I had something that was exciting like this to read. There's content comes in different forms. It can be drama, which is something that you got to understand. Like, everyone's got to have their understanding of what the community is, right? I played in 20s.
Yeah.
I played an expansion in 20s. 20s is more about server-based, community-based guilds. That's I always gave the highest praise to free-to-plays for having the best guides on the website, and the amount of guides and amount of actual helpful content to creating and being a part of the community, having your tune. I mean, it doesn't even come close. From my experience in Mr. Pandaria, it did not even... No other section on Twink Info at the time held a candle to where free-to-plays was in terms of content that was game, character-driven, great community, less drama-based. There was drama, it was there. Less drama-based than 19s, though. So, I mean, I think that's where at times, like, you see, too, like, a lot of people that aren't a part of 19s are like, oh, like, why 19s? Like, 19 sucks. You guys have a shit attitude. Like, fuck you. And it's kind of like, at the same time, too, like, you know, it's kind of hard to keep 19s out of your mouth. It's like I was saying earlier. It's the LeVar Ball syndrome. It's like, if you play basketball, if you understand the sport, you know who LeVar Ball is. So, like, whether you like him or not is irrelevant. You are giving him free advertisement. You're talking. By you saying that, oh, I love... You know, or fuck 19s, you're basically giving 19s attention. So that's kind of how 19s always has been, right? So, like, whether people like it or not, if you are on Twink Info or XPOFF on the forums, you know about 19s. That's where all the drama happens. So, like, for some people in another bracket, it's a blessing, because they can just sit there in the bracket where they don't have to deal with this shit, get out their fucking Orville Redenbacher, come over to the 19 section and jerk off with everyone else, and they don't actually have to be a part of it. So, like, and in some way, you know, it's I just wanted to bring that point out, because I saw a lot of people on your thread, like, bitching about that. And it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you guys are so, like, ignorant to that. And it's like, yeah, it's like, okay, like, maybe you wouldn't want to be a part of it, but, like, that's why you're not a part of it. Like, most of these people are not a part of it. Like, of course. But, like, it's good to have variety. Look at where we are now. We have no variety. There's no stimulation. There's no drama. Look, it's so boring. Like, God bless. Like, I'm so,
I need to just make a point that drama, to a certain degree, is, in my opinion, actually so important. Like, it doesn't have to be toxic. It doesn't have to be people like F you, like, you, like, just mean stuff. It doesn't have to be, like, super toxic, but, like, drama, going back to the old days, I mean, that's what made 19 so hype in a pre-made setting. Like, and, like, even just going forward into more recent times, like, I just think there's definitely a place for it in game and even on the forums. So I mean, it's a tough line. I'm not calling out old mods, new mods, old admins, new admins, but I mean, like, there's I mean, it needs to be, like, present, and the fact that it's being discouraged, like, at any level, I mean, I don't know.
I have a great example of, like, what you're talking about. I think the idea of what you're talking about, that was something that happened pretty regularly from Kata to, I would say, like, mid-Warlords of Draenor, and that was the best of threads. That's something that's very healthy drama. That's something that always stirred the pot at 19s. That's something that people are like, oh, I just want to see my name on this guy's list so I can fucking jerk off tonight. I'm just like, oh.
Plus, it's like, you look at those, like, the big names in the bracket, like Pizza or like HB, like some of the players, like, from these guilds, like the just the guys that have been around in the scene for every single expansion. Like, you want to know who's on their list, and then everyone starts arguing about it. Like, you just like this guy because he's from your guild, or like blah blah blah, stuff like that. But like all that content, like that just creates, like, that's why people. I mean, that was a huge reason of like why I wanted to play back in the day. Like, I wanted to get beat, become one of the better players in my class. I don't know if it happened or not, but I mean, I like to think at one point I was pretty good.
Yeah,
but,
the Waka Flocka gang rolled out, bro. Waka Flocka rolls out, dog.
That was a fun time, dude. But yeah, like those threads were awesome. Just stuff like that. I miss that, and it just, you don't see it anymore, man. It sucks. I've been on XPOFF a couple times in recent weeks, and I'll go into the 19 section, and usually there's something, but like there was multiple times where I'd log on to the 10 to 19 section, and there's literally just nothing. It's like a little teardrop. Like, you just need something. You need some 19 sustenance, and it's just so feels bad.
Let's roll this point over into where I want to get with this. This is a combination between the website needs to be more lenient with what they're allowing people to say, and with that leniency, I think that you will see people start making these threads. But right now, like, if someone was to tell me XPOFF, all right, like, here's my idea of XPOFF, right? XPOFF to me is vanilla ice cream. I know what I'm getting. It's predictable. It's boring. That's about it. It's something that's
now,
there,
sure.
but it needs, like, I want my ice cream to have some fucking peanuts on it. I want a little bit of chocolate fudge. I want some fucking strawberries, some cherries on top. Like, oh, like, goddamn, maybe even some nice, like, some butterscotch. Like, I need some more. Give me some more
those chocolate
juice.
chips, man.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, right? We need to make the bowl bigger. We need to have more variety. We need to allow for this kind of behavior to be here, so it brings back that spark. Because right now, like, there's a sense where it's like you go post anything on XPOFF, and like you can't post anything that's gonna be something that's gonna last overnight and that's gonna be chopped down. And it's not like, I'm not to the point where it's like fucking like North Korea Nazi land or whatever. But I am like of the opinion that it is definitely impinged the people that have wanted to post on XPOFF and show up on a day-to-day basis, which is not good in terms of like having a website that's based off like grassroots community. And look, at the same time too, let me get into this point right now.
Go for it, dude.
Look, I understand that in theory, in the idea, it's like at the same time, it's like, yeah, we want to have a good website. We want to have an approachable like website where people feel comfortable being on, not feeling like they're being assaulted, feeling like that they can be a part of a community that they would want to be a part of, be proud to be a part of, and get new people to the website. But at the same time too, it's like, that is great. Where the fuck has your content been the past like year? Like, where, like,
and it's not even all those people's fault behind the scenes either, but it's like you're not making it easy. Like, I want those new people to succeed. I want the website to succeed, but like, you can't alienate like the people that are gonna like keep the culture of 19s alive at the expense of like any content on the website at all. I don't know.
I think
it's a tough line, and they're trying to find it, but like, I don't think they have found it.
I think that I think we're taking the steps to talking about it. Like right now, it's like, in my opinion, the XPOFF. When I think of XPOFF, it's been so squandered and like squashed down into like vanilla ice cream. It's so plain. You can't really do anything. You can't add in any flavor. You can't do anything like that. So like, that's what people come to expect. So like, they don't think that much of the website right now. And at the same time too, you know, I sit here and say like, where the fuck's the content been? It's not like a direction. I'm not taking shots at XPOFF. I'm taking shots at like, we need a better culture, because obviously this is the lesson that's actually to be learned here. The lesson to be learned here, if we've learned anything from the past expansions, we can no longer have 19s, have XPOFF be a website where the weight is on 3 to 5 people for it to be functional. Because you know what? That's not how life works. That's not how businesses work. That's not how companies work. That's not how groups and hobbies, organizations work. It's not. You have to have, you want to surround yourself with so many great people and allow for doors to open for people that want to get involved. The problem, like, if, let's just say, for example, Well, I'll just give you my straight up honest opinion. One reason why I stopped streaming and why I don't like streaming that much anymore and why I've taken a backseat to doing things is because I got sick of having so much fucking weight on my shoulders. I fucking hated it. It felt more of something that I was doing out of routine and became less and less enjoyable and fun. And so I just was like, dude, fuck this. Like, you want to have that sense and feeling of, hey, I can contribute this. This is going to be awesome. And other people are going to contribute things too, as opposed to where we've been for the last 3 expansions, where it's like there's so much weight on just a handful of people's shoulders that eventually they get fucking tired of it and becomes work to them. It's like that's where we've been the past 3 expansions. And that's something more than anything that we should learn from this. So why do I bring that up? I bring it up because it's important to open the doors for people to voice their opinions, to have conversations, to create content, because right now we're not inspiring, we're not allowing for people to bring their own flavor to the table by restricting everyone like this. You have to nurture the environment so that people can come out and be able to share whatever it is that they want to share, you know, good and bad. It just creates like stir of like drama and relevancy to why people would want to come onto the website. So like all in all, we need to ask ourselves this question. Why, as people that are running the website, it's like, here should be the mindset. Why should I log on to XPOFF? What are we bringing that is going to enhance your experience in the twinking community as opposed to just logging onto the game? So opening up the forums a little bit, giving some breathing room for people to fuck around and talk about whatever they want to talk about, drama, threads, other things like that. It's going to encourage people to make more content as well, too. Good and bad. Like, it could be something from, like, E-News, fucking 19 Twinks, HB jerks himself off into a fucking, like, bowl or whatever. Who knows? Or, like, or something relevant. Like, hey, you know, like, I love that there's more activity going on in the forums. I feel like making a guide. Or there's something, like, where I feel like, wow, there's more people looking. Now I feel like, oh, shit, if I make something, it's going to be more relevant. And I already think XPOFF has a great standard for encouraging people with little fucking glittery things that are kind of nice to have. People definitely like get, you know, a little fucking fat.
Dude, that's a good point right
they
there.
have, I mean, they have good things in place where it's like, oh, you get little badges and shit for doing it, but it's like we need the badges to be relevant, right? So it's like opening those doors are great, and it's
I
just
think
little
there's too many badges personally, but
sure.
that's
but
all
I mean, people. But at the end of the day, people love having that stuff, and it's just like something, a little extra thing. But at the end of the day, it's just an extra, right? That's not like right now. I feel like that's the incentive, per se.
I wouldn't put it in content.
Right. It's just
right.
It's just like little extra glittery shit on top. That's great, right? Because like right now, that's where we're at. If that's people don't give a shit if that's the main reason they're doing it. They obviously don't give a shit. But it's nice glitter on top. Okay, so we've talked about content. Content right now is pretty scarce on the website. Open it up. It's not all on one person to contribute that, but you need to open the door to let people have their opinions come in and give people an idea for, oh, this is something I'd like to talk about, and I feel like I'm going to be able to talk about it in a way that's going to be, you know, somewhat tolerated on the website.
Right.
I think that's
I'd also like to say that I think it's great that we have people behind the scenes on the website in the past and even now too, like that are there, you know, like there really isn't anyone that's absent. Like these people want to push the website in a good direction. Yeah. And the point of my thread was never to down talk those people. It's just that being someone who's been a part of 19s just for so long, like I know there are people in the thread saying like, if you don't like it, like leave. Like, well, no, I'm invested in this. Like this is when I play WoW, which is my favorite game of all time, that I play 19s because that's my niche or whatever. So I mean, I think it's great that these people want to take XPOFF, which is our biggest hub, in the right direction. I'm not sure. I really don't like straight up. I don't like XPOFF right now. I don't mean that.
I don't think you're in the minority.
Like yeah, it's weird. Like I don't dislike XPOFF. I just don't like it right now because I don't think that. Right. I think that the people behind the scenes they have all the best intentions, but I just think maybe the focus needs to be somewhere else. And it's not just on them too, which is the main thing that I wanted to say when I started talking here. It's not just on them, but like the situation on the website, they're not creating a good setting for other people to feel like, oh, hey, like I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, you know, like, and like I said, it's not just on them, but I mean, I don't know if they realize that by changing things up a little bit, and
Yeah.
just recognizing that a lot of us older players maybe would like something a little bit different, and that we are a bigger part of what can create a more successful thing going forward.
I want to bring something up here, and like final kind of a note on XPOFF. In Mr. Pandaria, I played in 20s, and I also played in 19s. One thing that I noticed from playing in both brackets and being an active participant in both different sections of the forum was that I thought that during that time period of Mr. Pandaria, from my experience, that this is an idea that I think we should carry forward with the website, and that certain areas of the website are going to be moderated differently. There's going to be a different enforcement. There's going to be a different level of tolerance, right? If I went to free-to-plays, the culture was completely different. It's understanding. Right now, I feel like you need to take the hand that you're given. And I mean like your literal hand, right? And have an understanding, like have your hand on the pulse of the game, right? It's like we're trying to take the pulse of someone else's body, right? We're trying to push in a direction that's like, that's not what the community is. That's not what the base of this is, right? And I feel like we've gotten to a point where we've kind of alienated, like you said, some of the long-term people in the community, and there's like a forced, like weird feeling of like, let's push to the future, but like, what is the future? Because we don't have any content here, and the people that are making the base of the foundation don't give a shit about that unless there's like a foundation. And so I think it's also understanding at the same time too that it's like, hey, like, I'm just gonna put it out blatantly, right? Like 19s is more toxic, it's more drama fed. There's more competition, there's more pre-mades, there's more things going on. That's why it is like that. As opposed to another bracket, like 20s. Yeah, is there competition to be had? Yeah, absolutely. But it's way more about character building. It's way more about relationships, putting investment and time into your characters. And I was like, wow, like I can really distinguish the two differences between these forums and the way that they are moderated because they understand the culture that's around them. They understand the environment that's around them. And they can be able to have both of those opinions. They can be able to sit there and understand this is our community. This is what I see, and be able to identify that and roll with what the community is going for. Okay. I'm getting Mutando back in the call here in just a second or two. He had an internet outage, so we'll be picking him up here. I think that pretty much caps off of like where we were for the direction of XPOFF. That's pretty much all my thoughts on it right now. I'm kind of looking over some of my notes, see if I missed anything. I mean, all in all, it's just about having an understanding that this is a grassroots community for the entire website. No matter what area you are in, it's important to understand that. We want to build off of what we already have, not alienate what's already here and push towards the future, right? Opening up the doors for encouraging people to make content, being more lenient on the website is going to be absolutely awesome for people wanting to get back and involved and check out the forums every day and feeling like posting anything from shit posts to actual content because there's more people that actually look and watch and see what's going on the website. All in all, that's how I feel about the XPOFF direction. I want to nurture the community that we already have, make content, have multiple people making content, excited to put something out on the forum, whether it's an interview, whether it's a podcast, whether it's streaming, whether it's a video, whether it's a tutorial, whether it's a guide, whether it's shit posts, whether it's best of threads. Have reason for people to want to do what they want to put out. Because at the end of the day, it's like you can't put inspiration, you can't put desire into someone. People have to want to do it themselves. But at the same time, too, we've got to open up the doors to allow people to walk through them. And that's where I feel like we're at this point. Is we got to allow people to walk through the doors. So with that on the mind, that's really my thoughts of XPOFF. Maybe there's a couple of things Mutando wants to get on when he gets back in here, and we'll get him off. But really what I wanted to carry this into is the state of 19s, because that's the other thing that personally I'm not happy about. I haven't talked about this really. We've talked. Our last podcast was a couple of weeks ago. I think I had Phobia on. We were talking about the pre-mades and the real IDs. Yeah, I've got a changed opinion of the real IDs. I've got a changed idea of the pre-mades, and I want to get another false sense of where we're at as a community out of the way, okay? The state of 19s, second part of this topic, second part of this whole podcast. The state of 19s, let's not kid ourselves, all right? Last year, all right, the only reason, let's just go back to this. The only reason there's any hype whatsoever around 19s is because of the Twin Cup. And that's why I said one of the first things on this podcast, like, God bless fucking Merm for making this Twin Cup. God bless everyone for fucking running this, because if it wasn't for this tournament this year, like, people would not be playing. I want to talk about why people are not playing, and from my opinion, why I think things have gone to shit recently. And this is just over like a month or a couple of weeks. Because I feel like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, everyone was like, oh yeah, super hype, like we got a lot of teams going, and generally around the community, I think there was hype. It just turned June. People were getting off work, off school, getting more hours to play, and there was a lot of real ideas going on. There's a lot more games happening. But let's cut to the bullshit. I really want to talk about like why we're at the place of where we are right now. And I think that really at the base of it, that's why we talked about the Direction of XPOFF first, because I really feel that right now the community is so limited to what they're actually able to do in terms of expression in the community and getting content out there. And that's a really big reason for people to log on. When we have a great website going in coordination with the things going on in game, it just adds another level of flavor. It adds another level of, I'm excited to log on today because there's great stuff on the website that inspires me to log on or contribute or add something to that. And I think opening those doors is going to be the first gate, really, to having a big impact. Because really, at the end of the day, right, the second thing that I want to talk about, I guess, let's just talk about, okay, Legion, right? Obviously, Legion had a really big impact. We went from XPOFF to XBeyond. I'm getting Mutando back into the call right now. Hey Tando, welcome back, dude. No, you're totally chilling. I just carried on. I just started talking about State of 19s, and I was talking about, catch you up to speed a little bit. So I was just talking about, I think the State of 19s right now. I mean, you said it earlier. It's like dog poo poo. It's not so bueno. And I was talking about, like, really the first thing to getting that back is really what we were just covering, like the direction of the website, opening doors for people to have like a reason and emotional attachment to wanting to log on and play outside of the actual game itself. Having that flavor within the community really is the first step. I don't know how you feel about that, if you want to touch on that a little bit. Maybe his internet went out again. Je ne sais pas, mon ami. He's having internet issues. He has fucking internet DC. But if not, I can still carry this on and we'll just go with the flow. Hello, mate.
Oh, goodness. Jesus.
You're good, man. It's all good, homie.
Sorry, man.
Don't worry, bro. Do we need to send a lifeboat out down to fucking Alabama, Georgia? Hell, I don't even know. No, Carolina. I'm retarded. There we go.
Dude, I'm back in Jersey now, actually, but yeah.
All right. So close. Nah, but I was just talking about, okay, so generally I was saying, I think the first thing to getting 19s back to where it is, I mean, it's pretty bad right now. First thing to getting it back is, opening the doors to the forums. We want to give people like an emotional attachment to coming back and playing, being a part of the community, having a reason where they log onto the website first and they play, as opposed to just coming onto the game and not really knowing what to expect. I think it's a really big part of it.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
And I know we talked about it a lot, so I didn't want to like beat it into the ground. If there was anything specific you wanted to bring up for like 19 specifically, I don't know if you had anything off the top of your head, but
I mean, there's a correlation between activity in the game and on the website, but there's also a correlation in the same way, where if the activity on the website translates to more people playing in game. I mean, I think that that's a tough one, man. Like, it's tough to say, because you can't really argue against the fact that, like, also this expansion, 19s are a lot different. People lost their gear.
Oh my God, Mutando, are you alive? Hello, team. Oh my God, dude. Okay, well, Mutando is being raided at his house. He just had fucking Jabba the Hutt walk in and fucking smash his fucking side. Oh my God, this is fucking troll. Lol. Okay. Well, I'll carry on until Mutando gets back. He's got some, they've got a really bad storm coming through New Jersey, if not. But yeah, on top of that, like, I mean, really, right, we were getting to the point of, like, Legion has not been that great of an expansion. It's significantly hurt 19s. There was a sense from people on the website that at the beginning of the expansion, everyone was very much looking forward to playing. There's going to be a lot more people. It was going to be more active. And hey, I mean, at some point in time, I mean, you know, the goods and bads about XPOFF, right? I mean, or excuse me, about this expansion. I mean, you can literally log on. You can log on and play whenever you want. There's queues all day, all night. So the fact that you can play all day is great and all. At the same time, too, here's the big thing that I really wanted to get into. I don't think people realized how big of an impact Warlords of Draenor pugs had. Just competitive pugs in general. I think that last expansion, we as the community of 19s were absolutely spoiled. And I knew this during the time when it was happening. Absolutely spoiled for what happened in terms of the amount of success that we had through real IDs and premades. But at the same time, too, it also kind of put us in a bad attitude. We got bad habits going on. We've got this entitlement. Like, people log on and feel like they can get into real IDs and play all the time. Here's what I want to talk about. This is something that I noticed during the middle of Warlords of Draenor. And if you break down, I'm going to say the competitive scene of 19s. So this is not going to apply to maybe some people that are playing casually or their own guild on a different server, and that's completely fine. This is something that I want to talk about, though, for the core community of 19s. There were 3 base communities in Warlords of Draenor for 19s, and I think that you can really categorize it into this. You had players that solely played in pugs, and if you, they just played pugs, they just, whether or not they're in a guild, whether or not they're a great player or not, there were people that played pugs and liked queuing up every day, waiting the 15 minutes to get into queues, unless there were like 2 games going, like actively queuing pugs, didn't want to get involved in the real IDs or the premades. Now, there were also players that played pugs and got involved in the real IDs. These are people that maybe played in pugs, you know, kind of like as warm-up kind of a things. They also went and got involved into the real ID scene that started booming in Warlords of Draenor. Now, let me talk about this just briefly. I think it's really interesting, right? The whole reason why last expansion that the real IDs kind of came together.
Alrighty.
Hey, Tando, welcome back, bro.
Yeah, sorry for making this not a clean podcast.
Dude, it literally sounded like Jabba the Hutt like walked into your house when you left and just literally like threw a whole shelf down. Did something crash?
So, we have I just looked, we have a tornado warning, which I've never heard of before in Jersey, and a giant limb of a tree just literally like ripped off and just smashed right against the wall. So literally, I almost like crapped my pants. And,
oh my god! Yeah, it literally sounded like someone threw. Are you all right, dude? Like, if you're not safe,
I'm good.
If you're not safe being here right now, like, it doesn't fucking matter. So I mean, you can go and I can like.
It out, baby. No, I'm good.
All right. I mean, if we go to the Wizard of Oz, then I mean, I'll be here to fucking guide you there, bro. All right. No, you're totally fine, bro. Okay, so what I started talking about a little bit is that I was talking about how in Warlords of Draenor, I noticed like midway through the expansion that we got really spoiled with Warlords of Draenor, and that the community, even though it got to a place that was great in terms of having premades all the time, active real IDs, multiple guilds premating at the same time too, I realized that there was something stirring underneath the surface, and that the foundation itself has kind of been was being tarnished at the same time too. And this is what I was leading it into. So there, in my opinion, there was 3 different, for the competitive core of 19s, there's 3 different communities. There's the community that plays pugs and solely pugs, that go in and want to just queue up casually. I'm thinking Warlords of Draenor mindset, okay? So like wait the 15 minutes, maybe there's double games going, but they're not really getting involved in real IDs for the most part. Maybe they're playing with a guild and they just don't want to fuck with like real IDs or whatnot. You have your second community. There was pugs and real IDs. So these are people that are playing pugs and got involved in real ID premades, played in maybe multiple guilds, played on multiple teams during Warlords of Draenor. But slowly over time, that community started dwindling less and less from pugs and only logged on for real ID premades. And then our third community is the guild respective prematers. So maybe they played in pugs a little bit, but these guys were not fucking around playing around in the real ID premades. They just wanted to do guild premades. You know, some players that come to mind: Cancer Pizza, a lot of SR members.
Yeah. For sure.
On top of that, there were definitely some guilds off mainstream, like maybe from Arthas. that didn't necessarily want to be playing, and all the real ID premates weren't in the scene, but they did their own thing. They did their own guild premates or whatnot. So it extends to that point. So what happened is over the course of Warlords of Draenor, we saw that as the expansion went on and on and on, that pugs started dwindling more and more and more. And this community formed from what at the beginning of the expansion started as a necessary to queue games, okay? So let's explain how real IDs started happening and why the wargaming scene took off last expansion. It really was because it was a necessary thing to play games. You could not queue pugs at the beginning of Warlords of Draenor. So what happened was we'd form 20 people in Alliance. We would split teams between 2 teams, and we'd play the game, and like a couple nights into it, we're like, fuck it, let's spectate the games and start doing it. That's how the ball got rolling. It like you literally could not queue pugs until a certain point when they fixed it, and then pugs started happening. But that's how the real IDs jumped out. And then slowly over time, it became more of like guilds started forming, general groups would go into the real IDs, and then they'd build around that. Maybe you just had straight 20-20 splits, or 20 split 10 and 10. But a lot more of those players got really the whole mindset of most of the players. I don't think people really took for granted what was going on. You had a couple people that were organizing and setting up these games to happen, and more you saw people took it for granted and were spoiled and would log on, kind of have a shittier attitude, just showing up for the games, showing up to split teams, didn't necessarily care about about the organizing of the event itself and like being conscious about that, and we're more toxic, log on, don't really care, just show up to play. Well, that continued into Warlords of Draenor, and like by the last 3 months of Warlords of Draenor, last 3 or 4 months, like we really had probably like somewhere between like 5 and 10 pugs that popped a day. Like they were really slow unless it was nighttime and it was a good night and things got going. Like the pugs were slow. It was one game at a time. It didn't start popping till later in the evening. And it was difficult to get those games going because at this point, no one wanted to log on to play pugs. And it got to a point where we spoiled ourselves in a way where I felt like the majority of the community just started logging on for real ID premates, which really hurt the pug scene. So where are we going with this, right? So here we are in Legion, right? Now you see most of the players from the real ID community and the premade community solely logging on just for real ID premates or premates. Like, and I'm not sitting here trying to blame people, but there is a point to be made about this, right? I don't blame people for not wanting to log on and play Legion pugs. Legion pugs are XP on games. You get what you get. Sometimes you queue into 5-mans. The games can be fun. Most of the time you don't, and they're pretty bad. Unless you're solo queuing by yourself and queuing on a class that can have, you can try to carry the game by yourself. It's not a great environment.
I played mainly a Resto Shaman, and I'll be honest, like to queue pugs, I mean, being that a lot of my close homies don't play 19s as much, or like you were just saying, only hop on for an hour or two, a couple nights a week to play Real ID premates. Like it's not necessarily fun for someone like me to queue pugs because I'm just sitting there healing level 12 paladins who are fighting in the midfield, So it's tricky. You can't call people out for playing only real IDs or playing only pugs, but the setting for games has changed so much this expansion. 19s have changed so much with Legion. It's very hard to find a good balance.
I think this is an idea I brought up and talked about with a couple of people. When Legion had such a massive change in culture and impact this expansion that it was almost as if we got hit with this massive meteor, with an asteroid. And it's like, I mean, there's more people, but like the idea is like, imagine if the Earth right now got hit with like a massive asteroid and like 90% of the population died, technology was destroyed, so many things were destroyed. Like, it feels like we're like back with like sticks and stones trying to make fire, like in pugs, if that makes sense. Like, no one has any idea. Like, there's no foundation for what you do in pugs. There's very rarely midfield fights. The objective play is horrible. The quality of everything went down, and like obviously that was gonna happen. This was the meteor that hit, but at the same time, here we are. This is where we're at. And it's kind of adjusting and moving on to where we're going into the future. I mean, that's the reality. Like, pugs are not that great. You can make of what you want to make of it. When there's 5-man teams queuing, it's a lot of fun when you get those games. But if you're queuing a 5-man and you get no one against you, they suck. It's that simple. And with that said, what I wanted to point out with this is that, so now we're in an expansion where like most of the Real ID and pre-made players only log on for Real IDs. Well, what's happened with that? So a month ago, I was sitting here talking about how the war games were really fun. They're really exciting. We're getting the ball rolling. There's a lot of games going. And here we are a month later, and my opinion's completely changed. I hate the Real IDs, and there's for multiple reasons, okay? One of the reasons when I first came back and started playing 19s again over the summer was people always wanted me to organize the games. And at first I didn't mind. I'm like, okay, I kind of want to play. Let's organize the games. But then it became like, oh, are you organizing the games? Are you organizing the games? And that's once again where it's just like there's so much weight on one people, and we take advantage of the fact that there's weight on individual people. So like whether it's Ripduck setting up the games, or it's Dan setting up the games, or it's myself setting up the games, or anyone that volunteers to do it, it's a lot of weight to do it, and it became less and less and less worth because I log on and it's like the first week it's like, okay, let's get people in, let's try to balance out teams, and we do it the best we can and we go with it and enjoy it. Became more of, let's log on, I'm waiting here for an hour, and I see the N-word spammed in my chat, the raid chat, for an hour and a half, rather than trying to find people. It's like, I don't want to sit there, I don't want to deal with people like that, I don't want to be in an environment like that, I want to log on, I want to play, I want to get involved in the game, I want to get it going as quick as possible, I want people to help out and make it a possibility, and the environment to play got more and more toxic. And on top of that, here's really the kicker, is like, you could take all that shit aside, and if the games were fun, sure, I mean, fuck it, maybe you deal with it. Games are not fun, and here's the reason why the games are not fun. The meta is boring, it's unevolving, and Real ID pre-mades do not help solving that problem. They do not. You are not going to have evolving strategies that are going to push the meta and push the barriers of the meta that happen in Real IDs. You're not. You split up teams, 10 and 10, random people, you throw them together. It's like pickup games of basketball, right? You're going to do pick and roll at basketball. You're going to do pick and roll, pass to the open man, cuts, simple plays, things that everyone can relate to and understand. You're not going to be trying out new strats. You're not going to be trying out new comps in these pre-mades. You don't know anyone that you're playing with. You're going to go with what you know.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's no guild pre-mades happening right now is led us to a point where it's like we're not evolving. Yeah, it's gross. And I think that the tag-along point I'm going to add to that, since we're talking about leaders, right? This is how you can always tell how many teams are actually going to be there in the Twin Cup. The Twin Cup is going to have as many teams as there are a leader to lead that team and get people excited to play on that team to participate. So here we were a month ago, and I knew this was bullshit when it was happening right out of the start. Got all these teams signed up, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen this before. We see this every year. It's like, I need to see someone that's like a leader, someone that I know is going to show up and get people to play and get people excited to play. And, you know, truth of the matter is, I mean, I'm going to be blatantly honest about this. We have like 3 people on GSC that can do that. We have 3 people on GSC that could lead a team. And I said that the other day. I had a conversation with someone about that the other day. Because I want to talk about it, because I'm like, man, it's like at the same time, it's like, holy cow, like, there is an absence of leaders. Like, if you look across the board right now, here are the guilds, right? GSC will probably have 2 teams.
Right, which right off the bat, I just have to say, it's like, I mean, the same guild fielding 2 teams, it's awesome that you can do that, but, like, I would like to see just the GSC team, you know, and then maybe the other guys, and I understand people are friends, but it's just like, and I know, like, I like everyone from that guild, but, like, just like you said, like, if you have a bunch of people in the team that can lead, like, why not just make another team? Yeah, I don't know, just a thought, but.
Oh, I mean, it's something that I brought up as recently as, like, 2 days ago and talked about, like, seriously considering doing, but that's not because of, like, it's almost for the wrong reason, though, because it's like, there's been such a lack of other people stepping up that it's like I feel like I'm pinned in a corner to like do something. So it's like it's such a lack of it feels for the wrong reason, but it is something that I was obviously aware of when I thought about it. Like for example too, like if you did like skill ratio, there's probably 2 people on skill ratio that could like legitimately lead the pre-made. Like if you go with Pizza or Grizzle, like people that could like step up and like understand the meta enough to like tell people what to do and have some sense of organization.
Yep.
So
Curly,
be
if
it.
he was around, I know.
Yeah, I mean, you would probably say the self for yourself or ganker or whatnot. Like you just have. But here's the thing, right? So when I look at the TC teams, right? There's all these teams and there's new teams. That's great. I don't know any of these people. Only one of the new Legion guilds, no, two of the new Legion guilds I knew from this expansion. There were fresh guilds, fresh names, fresh people. Played pre-mades. One of which has disbanded pretty much, has evaporated, which was Suggen's guild, and when Suggen disappeared, like, they've lost a lot of momentum, and I don't see that coming back, unless they really step up their leadership and really want to get involved. The other guild was Insurrection, and I subbed in and played with Berg's team, which is now, well, I don't know what the fuck their name is. I mean, it was Dog Spank, but I don't know what it is currently. I don't know. But I played against them, against Insurrection, and I was like, wow, they actually fielded 10, and we played multiple games. I'm like, okay. I mean, that's something to be said. They obviously have to, they definitely need to learn, like, comps and strats and whatnot. But, like, the fact that they could lead 10 and they had 10 people wanting to play, I mean, that's something. But all the other teams, wipes, and if people want to actually play competitively, like, you need to actually play premates, right? You need to actually play. You need to actually field a team and actually practice. Like, this time last year, or the year before that, we already had hundreds of games, pre-made games.
Oh, yeah, man.
Like, there would be like 4 to 5 times a week where there would be 2 guilds playing like a set of 5 games, right?
Yep.
The amount of guild pre-mades that have happened over the past like 2 months has been like 10, 15? I've played in 2 series. I think we've played 8 games over the past 6 weeks. 9 maybe? And they were like 3-week breaks in between. Like, there's just like such a lack of desire and like want to participate.
It's a really weird situation. I actually didn't see, now that we're talking about it and breaking it down so much, like people may think that we're just kind of harping about the need for more guilds, but like it's actually very interesting when you look at the possibility for teams and the factors that are deterring people from actually building. Like even me, like there's like I've thought at maybe 5-6 different occasions throughout the past couple of months, like why don't I make another guild? Like I'll get Ganker back on here. We'll find a couple guys, but it's like there are major deterring factors, and it goes into just the guild scene not being where it once was. Like, you know, I just it's tough to put a pinpoint on it, but you know just as well as I do that it's just it's rough, man. It's discouraging too.
It's a lot of little things, and it trickles back to a little bit of what's going on the website. How's the website doing? How's the community? Are there people streaming the games where it's like, oh, I can casually watch the games? There's not as many people streaming right now. Are the games being spectated? Is there relevant commentating going on in the games to make it exciting for people to watch? Are there guild name premates? Are there players that are like, wow, these are competitive players, I'm excited to compete against them and make a team against it? You're right. It's not one thing. It's a lot of little things. On top of the fact that on a day-to-day basis, pugs are what they are. They're not as inspiring for people to log on and feel like they have like a competitive queue system going to too. So it's kind of what you make of it at the same time too. I want to continue like rolling the ball we got here a little bit. I'm trying to pick up where I left off in here.
Yeah, go for it.
So here's the thing. So what happened with the real IDs and why there's been like a stoppage of real IDs the past 2 or 3 weeks? Why there haven't been that many games? Yeah. I can tell you from my perspective, I can't be fucked. I cannot be fucked asking to sit there and babysit 20 autistic fucking retards sitting there spamming N-word and shit while I'm trying to organize games. I can't be fucked. And I'm sure that that's the same case scenario. Yeah. I think most people would feel like that. And it's just like, the point that I wanted to bring up is like, okay, maybe the games weren't perfect. You know what? Games could have been balanced better. But, at the same time, too, it's like, these are the people that are sitting there spamming the same shit in chat all the time. So it's like, let's understand that this is like something that people have to put together and put work into. And rather than, once again, like we need things spread out amongst multiple people, rather than it just being like, oh, if this person's not leading the games, I can't be asked making the games. If this person's not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit in the back seat of my chair. But that's kind of life. Most people are lazy, can't be asked to do anything. So at the same time, too, that's kind of like a life thing. But at the same time, too, when we're a small community like this, it has massive ripple effects because you only have like a handful of people that are going to do it. And I think on top of the fact, like myself personally, like I think the Real ID games are boring. Like I actually don't like playing the Real ID games. Here's the meta right now of 19s. Both druids pick flags. Almost impossible in these real ID games to stop the druid from getting behind their team. They just run, they use dash, they get behind their team. Sometimes you get like a sap out on ramp and you can turn and kill with like Hunter Boomkin or something like that. But very rarely, right? Both FCs get behind their team 90% of the time, and then it goes into a midfield fight of which team gets the better setup. Do you get the sap after a kill on the FC and you push to the FC and you kill them because it's all about FC pressure, and then you just rinse and repeat? Like, that's the meta. It's so boring. It's so like the games, like when they're happening like day in, day out, like for 3 weeks, the games are boring. They're bad. And then you have the toxicity environment on top of that. Like, I think it's great that this happened, that there was a 2 or 3 week break, and we can kind of reflect on it and talk about what went good and what went wrong and how we can improve on it. And really, it comes down to, let's get real pre-mades. Fuck these shit real ID games with the meta is not evolving. Let's get real games that are happening. I'm just as a heads up, okay? I will be playing in real pre-mades in like 30 minutes to an hour. Like, they are happening. These are things that are happening. Jesse's playing One Punch. These games are happening. So the ball is rolling. There are people that are looking to play. GSC is looking to play. One Punch is looking to play. Dog Spank, if they can get their whole fucking roster on and play a game, they want to play, but they just can't get the roster on. Like I said, it's like, for people that are trying to participate in this year's Twin Cup, if you want to give yourself like an active chance of playing, man, like don't come under the mindset that you can log on and play day of the tournament. First off, that you're going to have a full team of the tournament because you don't have any like coordination or synergy to actually log on and all be like available and like have that want. Because if you don't have any foundation to start with, like what's the reason for people to actually like put that much interest into showing up the day of, right? So making the groundwork, getting an understanding of the strat, developing your own strategies, because there's so much shit that you can do this expansion. There's so much shit. There's so many different comps you can run. There's so many different strats, but like we're just touching the tip of the iceberg, and like I've played probably the most pre-mades, like real guild pre-mades, and we're just touching the tip of the iceberg, and it's like that's where I said it's like the meteor hit, right? Like we're in like caveman era. It's like, oh, me find stick, me find flint, me make fire. Oh, like we're just finding like shit out again, and it's like that's not going to evolve until we get more guild pre-mades. And like you cannot create want and desire for someone to want to make a team and want to be a part of it, but we can open the doors and we can talk about it and make people aware about it. And I think that that's really what we're trying to accomplish with this whole entire podcast. Let's be aware of what's going on in XPOFF. Let's try to open doors. Let's be aware of what's going on at 19s. Let's try to open doors for people to have opportunities to want to step in and get involved, right? Yep. You can't make someone want to do something, but you can open the door to them seeing it. You can give them more opportunities to be involved. I
agree completely. I think the guild scene really, really needs to step up. People need to hold their players. I mean, for me, as a team leader, I would love, even this summer, I truly would. I have the time. I really do. I would love to make a team. I think making a team is fun. Anyone can get 10 guys, put them under the same guild tag, and enter the Twin Cup. To truly make a team of 10 people that know their roles in different situations, you have the same team mentality. It is fun, man. I never had more fun in my over 10 years of playing this game than taking my guild into the Twin Cup 2 years ago. Even though we maybe didn't get the result we wanted, that was the most fun I've ever had playing any video game. And I think if people just do that little bit of work that it takes and just be a bit more on top of things in terms of just queuing and being online, and if you say you're going to be online for games, be online. You know, like no one wants to sit in a group for an hour and a half to play one game, and then after that game 2 people have to go. You know, it's brutal, and it happens a lot. So
I wanted to add on something that you said that I think is like a really big, let's change the mindset a little bit, okay?
Let's do it.
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm very curious how you respond.
Okay.
What makes the Twin Cup experience enjoyable for you?
Oh, man. That's a great question. I mean, the competition and the rivalry, and it's not even like, you know, you're at each other's throats, you know? Like, I know... Like I've never played on a team against you. I know you very well. I've known you for a while. I know Pizza. I know all these people I know, Muskie, I know all these guys, but like when it comes to terms to it, you know that they've been putting in their work with their teams for months. You've been putting in your work. You've played each other a couple times, and you know, I mean, the results have varied, but like that's your time to like show like this is what we've done with our team. Like we're gonna beat you guys. Like I mean, you know, man, it's the Twin Cup in times when 19s are good is so fun. I mean, it's literally so fun. You know, the games are commentated. There's hype moments. You go, you watch them afterwards. The Twin Cup is it's frustrating for me, man. The Twin Cup is such a great event, and that's why I'm so worried, and that's why I hopped on here with you tonight. One of the main reasons is I'm just so worried about it this year. I don't like think about it. If this was the last year of the Twin Cup, like that's not how I want it to end. Like I don't want it to end, period. But like I mean, we gotta switch things up in 19s right now, and it's just something that we can do as a group of people. Like we've done so much in this community. We can change the way we're doing things just a little bit, make it more guild oriented, just communicate better, a little less toxicity, better communication, whatever it is. I mean, we make this bracket what it is. We always have. Sorry for the rant after the question, but
I wanted the rant. I wanted the rant. I wanted the raw Mutando. What's the juice? What's the juice for wanting to play? So that's great, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I could be completely true for you. Every day I log on, I play some PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. What do I want to be doing? I want to be leading a team in the 19th Twin Cup. But it just goes exactly back to what you said, man. I log on to try and play some pleb aids, you know, knock the rust off, and I half the time I don't even make it to the first game. I just log off without saying anything. I feel bad, but it's like I can't sit in the group for 45 minutes with a bunch of idiots just spamming just horrible shit in the chat. And I'm just sitting here. I just want to play games. I want to get things going. I want the bracket to progress. Like, and it's just frustrating, man. Like, and then you get into the games, and like you said, like they're not always that great. It's just, sometimes they are. It's rough.
It's hit and miss. It's not like, especially if you're someone that hasn't been involved in pre-mates, you're going to enjoy it a lot more than people that are like super seasoned 19s and played pre-mates. Like the only reason that I even bring up the point that it's like not evolving, like to some people that have never played pre-mates, you would probably fucking enjoy it. Just to me, it's just like I've played so many pre-mates that it's like, man, I just see that the strats haven't changed for like a month and we need to evolve. I wanted to go back and talk about Twin Cup a little bit. So the reason why I love the Twin Cup and the reason why I like 19s is because of the relationships I've made with people and the people that I play with and against. It has nothing to do with winning or losing at the end of the day. It's like I love the people I play with. I love the I wanted to emphasize that point because I think for a lot of people that may be thinking about getting involved for the Twin Cup their first time, like really at the end of the day, like hey, I played in Harvest. Our team came like right in the middle of the pack a couple of years ago. I had a great time. I talk to all those people still today. They're all very good friends of mine for the most part. And it was like the experience of going through that as a guild, like whether or not you win, you lose, like it's just you make so many friends, you get more of an emotional attachment to the game and the people you play with. And the incentive of like making a guild is you get to create and like experience that journey and like share that passion for twinking in World of Warcraft like with other people, and like that I think really at the end of the day is like the heart of it. I wanted to really
you hit
like
the nail right in the head, man. That is it. That's why anyone plays World of Warcraft. I mean, the game is fun, but you play it for your relationships with your friends, your buddies. You know, you log on and they're there and you play with them, and it's the Twin Cup is an awesome thing, man. I think people miss out on that.
I wanted to bring that up and emphasize it. I thought you did a really good job talking about it. I wanted to emphasize it and nail it in because I think it's a great. That's what I really get out of it, and I think a lot of times going into it, like I'm guilty of this. Like it's like you want to win, win, do the best that you can,
right.
And like with that being said, like yeah, you want to put your best foot forward. Like I'm competitive, I want to do the best I can, but at the end of the day, it's like, man, if you're new to the scene, if you're new on Legion, like it's a lot of fun, man. And if you really put your best foot forward with a lot of people towards trying to do the best that you can and trying to succeed, having a great time doing it, you're going to have a lot of fun, man. And I wanted to really point that out. It's like a final note to that topic, I guess. It's a lot of fun, man. You make great relationships, and it really what brings 19s together for the grassroots community that it is. Okay. I had a couple more things that I want to talk about. This has been a great podcast. Even like you getting like hit by a tree. It was totally. Are you out of the woods, bro?
Yeah, dude, it stopped raining. The sky is brighter. I felt bad. I literally got back and I was like, "Yo, HP, what's up?" And then immediately disconnected again. Dude,
I just
this tree limb.
It's funny, man.
Smashes my house. I nearly crap.
Dude, I'm just like, I knew you told me there was a tornado. I just want to make sure you were alive, dog.
Nah, no tornado warning, but my dad texted me a dramatic bill that he is. We're getting a tornado. Like, it's windy. It's windy. It's very windy.
We had a tornado come through here the other day, and I was playing a while. I was like, fuck it, just fucking find me if I'm gonna die, dog.
Right, I'm toughing this out. I'm doing a podcast right now, so time for no tornado.
Yeah. All right. I have a couple final things I want to talk about, and they're great highlight points to kind of cap off this whole podcast.
I just gotta say one thing real quick.
Yeah.
Now that we've been talking about this, the 19's fire is burning in my belly again, everyone. And can we listen to this podcast and just take something from it and just realize that if we just all collectively get our shit going, get our shit together, like we can do this. This Twin Cup doesn't have to be.
Fuck yeah, dude! Let's go, baby! Woo!
Like, let's get some 19's hype, please.
That's great. I love it, dude. I got that like tingly feeling in my spine, dog. I'm playing some fucking pre-mates tonight, bro. Let's fucking go.
Right, dude.
Okay. Here's what I want to talk about. So really, this comes down to the current direction of XPOFF and the state of 19's is we need to balance things out more. We need to be open and understanding that, hey, look, the website where it's at, 19's where it's at, we cannot put and we cannot set ourselves up to having the weight of the entire bracket, the majority of the big events going on in the bracket and the website, be based to 3 to 5 people. Those people are going to get tired. We've seen it happen over and over again. You put too much weight on people, it needs to be balanced out. Now, with that being said, we haven't done a good job of putting ourselves in an opportunity to let that happen, especially with the website. I think at 19's as well, too, it's going to take some other people to step up and get involved.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say one. I mean, even like I mean, there was a point in time where Q-Pops were dependent on whether or not you were streaming or not. And then I can go into someone like Conk. Like, I mean, people say what you want about the guy. He's a huge part of the successes that we had in the past. And for someone like Conk to take a step back, I mean, that's completely in his right.
Yeah.
But like that's so much. Like those shoes need to be filled, man. Like he played a very big role. Like despite what anyone says.
No,
I mean, I have a lot of respect for Conk just for the work that he put in making things smooth. I think that's a good way to put it.
Absolutely, and like we said, we were talking about this at the beginning of the podcast, right? It's like, it's a blessing that we have people that don't even want to play in the tournament, that'll run the tournament at a professional, professional level. Like, look where the first Twin Cup was. Look where last year's Twin Cup was. That's fucking crazy. Like, we have animations that's spectated. The first Twin Cup was all on, like, other people's streams, like, their point of view. We got, like, replay systems. We got, like, great commentators, people in the community get involved. Like, here's where we're at. We need to evolve. I think. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say it's an awesome event and it's progressed a lot, and like we owe it to the Twin Cup and to ourselves to just get it going.
We're at a point where we've been hit with a meteor. Okay, the twinking world, our twinking world, has been hit by a meteor, and we need to rebuild. We need to reshape. We need to evolve. Right now, we're just jerking each other off in a cave with no flame. Let's find the light. Let's have that desire to want to find that light. We need to do this as a community, not as individuals. We need to do this as a community. And people that are getting involved now, let's, as a foundation, guide the way for people that are getting involved, all right? So what can this entitle? This entitles so many different things. And look, we're not asking for any one person to go up, bat 500 for the season, be hitting home runs every time. No, we're asking everyone to contribute. We want to encourage and inspire people to do the things that they want to do, whether that's writing, an interview, whether that's leading a guild, whether that's being a member in the community that's playing in games, whether it's just someone that's active on the forums, someone that's making content, videos. We need to have more organic. That's the catch. We need more organic content. So something that people are actually wanting to do. I sat here today. I haven't been making the podcast. I only make the podcast when I feel like talking about something, and I saw Mutando's thread go up. I'm like, I'm fucking feeling this. I know he's feeling himself. Let's do this podcast. Like, organic stuff that feels good, it feels right. More of that, in whatever shape, form that is. So whether it's in-game, out-of-game, on the forums, doing your impact, but everyone's got to do their part, man. We've seen what's happened when the weight of the world is put on a couple of individuals, and when that goes, that's where we are. That's where we are right now, currently in Legion. This is where there's no one to carry those weights. And trust me, if you're thinking that those people are going to come back in some form, you're not going to see the full forms that you saw before. Let's just make that clear.
Nah, you won't.
You're not going to see that again. It's going to be more of a balance and control and sustainability of the community. And, really, at the end of the day, hey, I mean, we're really at the control of our own outcome and people being involved and whatnot. Hey, this may happen. This may be something that turns around. I think it obviously can. I think it could be a huge boost. But at the end of the day, too, got to take the steps forward. So with that being said, hey, if you got something that you want to do, something that feels right, post it. Make a thread. XP off. Be more lenient. Don't be cocksuckers. Don't cuck everyone. People that are playing WoW, if you're playing in the pre-mades, don't be a dickhead in the group. I don't know. What kind of sums up my complaints? It's not really that much. I just feel like we need to evolve. That's really the kicker here. Let's evolve. Let's do better as a community rather than as individuals. And there's so much room. We've got a month and a half almost to the Twin Cup. Let's do it. Let's own together.
Please.
Let's all get our wieners out and smack each other in the face, all right? Together. A team Twink Bukkake. Let's make this happen. I believe that one day the Twinks will rise in unison under the shadows of the clouds from the meteor. And a new day will come. Okay, I'm done.
I like it, dude.
All right, Tanner, you got any last thoughts?
Yeah, in the end, all love to everybody in the 19 bracket, XP off. This was just a constructive talk. I enjoyed talking with my homie HB. I'm excited, man. And I'm not excited about what's going on currently, but I'm excited about what can very easily happen if we just get some good movement in the bracket. And I think one thing I will say real quick is that just with the new team at XPOFF and everything, maybe just some better communication between them and us. It's on us too to also communicate with them what we want to see on the website, because they're there and they want to make it better, and so do we. So
absolutely.
Let's just get shit going. I might make a pledge thread. It sounds so lame, but I might make a thread that just literally, if you're down to make the 19 Twin Cup for this year, 2017, as best as you can, and you want to have a role and you want to help out, just literally just post in the thread. I might make it later. We'll have to see. But
I like the idea of that.
I just want to see something going. I want to get going. I'm sick of sick of the status quo right now. So. All
right, Tana. Well, I gotta get going.
I gotta go get my grandma's Jersey Mike subs, dude.
Jersey Mike's nice. Yeah, I just heard about that today listening to the Bill Simmons podcast. Jersey Mike subs. All right, get yourself a free sub with code HB at Jersey Mike's, Kappa. All right.
Yeah, I gotta go get my grandma Betty a chicken parm. So I appreciate you having on me here,
No worries,
me on
bro.
The podcast. I can't speak anymore.
I'm glad you survived the Jumanji fucking storm that was thrown at you mid-podcast, dog. You won the game, dude.
Dude, I skated hard.
All right, bros. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. I don't know when there'll be another one. When I got something I want to talk about, I'll make another one. All right, bros. Have a great day. Tando, thanks for hanging out with me.
Yeah,
I'll see you guys in the Gulch.
Having me.
All right.
Peace.
Take it easy, guys.